In this video, we'll talk about incorporating decisions in your code. And for instance, we were looking at this example in the previous video where we were trying to compare two values. Let's say in addition to comparison, I also want to take some action when we compare them. And let's assume like S1 is some other value than S2. And for that, we have something that's known as if statements in Python. So you literally write if, and then you give the condition. Now the condition, the outcome of the condition has to be a true or a false, and we know how we get that using relational operators. For instance, I can say if S1 is greater than S2, obviously the result of this expression is a true or a false, then do something. We want our code to do something if that condition is true, right? We just don't want the outcome as a true or false, but we want to utilize that true or false. So for instance, in this case, I can say print S1 is greater than S2. And that's it. So that's what we want to do, and print comparison is done. I wanted to bring this print statement in because I wanted to emphasize on this indentation here. Anything that is indented is inside the if block, which means if S1 is greater than S2 is true, if this statement is true, then everything that's indented inside will be printed. For example, let me just add, just for demonstration's sake, let me add this string within quotes, and let's just try to execute this. So whatever is here will be executed, and once this is done and like the execution comes out of this if block, then this will be executed. Now what happens, you might argue that if there are multiple if statements, well, of course we can try that here. So if S1 is less than S2, right, this is also like a true or a false. If S1 is less than S2, then print S2 is greater, right? And that's it. Let's not have this like series of stars here, because we'll come to know which one is executed. Now, out of these if statements, only one will be executed because only one of them is true. Whenever this is false, this will not be executed. Let's run this and see what happens. Right, so S2 is greater, which means this if statement was executed and not this one. Why? Because this wasn't true in the very first place, right? And so we never get inside this if block, but we get inside this if block and print this, and this one is outside of both the if statements, and regardless it got printed. All right, so this is the if statement where we can make some decisions using our code. Now, in addition to this, what can happen is that let's say there is some criteria. For example, let's say S2 is some other value, or maybe let's have it as it is. And you want to make multiple, like you want to find out if S1 is greater than S2, do this, otherwise do something else, right? So you want like an or kind of a logic here, which means you're saying if S1 is greater than S2, print this. And otherwise, so for that otherwise we use this keyword else. Otherwise print S1 is not greater than S2. All right, so, and let me just remove this print statement to demonstrate this better. All right, so okay, this is still executing. Okay, S1 is not greater than S2, so obviously this one gets printed here, right? Now let's see what happens if I include an equal to sign here, right? And also update this here, and let's run this again. And okay, it takes more than usual. So S1 is greater than S2. That means this block got executed. Why? Because I had this equal to as well in my condition, and that equal to is true here, right? And that's why we got into this block and not this one. So only one of them will be executed whenever you're using an if and else, because it's essentially checking whether this is correct, whether this is true or not. Otherwise, in all other cases, print this, right? And in addition to this, there's something that's known as elif. And elif is another part of this if-else block, wherein we can break down this execution such that, let's say, I just want to test if S1 is greater than S2 and print this. Otherwise, if S1 is equal to S2, and we're going to talk about this equal to operator in the next video more. This is how we compare equal to. We haven't talked about it yet, but just to show you this elif execution, I can say both are equal. So this is just demonstrating that what happens if we had like more than two conditions and we cannot capture them in if and else. You can have these multiple elif statements, and then you can just like run these. Let's see what we get. And okay, both are equal, obviously, so that's where it ends. So this was about if, elif, and else. In some of the videos that are coming up, we'll talk more about this operator, so you need not worry about this just yet. Right, thank you.